to the Unfiltered Truths. Today, where we talk about the messy, the heartbreaking, and sometimes hilarious facts about life. Something like that. I've forgotten the intro. Today we're going to talk about sex education. Not the Netflix show, the actual sex education. Have you watched the Netflix show?
Oh, sex education? Yeah.
You have?
I have.
I haven't. I've only watched bits and pieces. So we are going to start off with defining what sex education is. What's your definition of sex education?
My definition of sex education would be knowing your sexuality, sexual health, and like your sexuality, your sexual health, and what else? Sex and relationships, basically.
No, you first will define it.
No, like your sexual health, like those are things related to early pregnancy, STIs, and then your sexuality, whether you are heterosexual, homosexual, and then the actual sex and relationships. Like that's my broad definition
Of sex
of sex education. Yes.
I thought it's like going to be like the kind of information or the kind of knowledge.
Yeah, like all those things, the knowledge and information is embedded in all those things. Okay. Because when you know, like, for example, like sexual health, like, you have information about sexually transmitted infections, pregnancies. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the importance of sex ed to you?
I think, okay, the important, for my view would be if you have enough information about your sexuality, your sexual health, you're able to make like informed decisions. For instance, if I have enough information about STIs, those are sexually transmitted infections where we have like HIV, gonorrhea. So you're able to know that these things actually do exist. How do I prevent them? If I got them, how do I go about it? So the importance is just to give us information and then be able to make informed decisions. If it comes to like physical sex, you are able to know what you want and then communicate it to your partner. So yeah.
So sex ed is everything to do with sex, the STIs, what to do in the bedroom.
Yeah, everything to do with the STIs, the bedroom, and then communication.
Communication?
Yeah. Communication is a big thing.
Any personal experience regarding sex and relationships?
Personal experiences. May not really be personal, but from like a professional point of view.
No, a personal one.
A personal one?
Yes.
Like what? Okay, maybe what I can say is I remember when I was going to, I could say something personal, yes. I remember when I was going to join campus, like as in Form 6. Of course, the entire vacation, no one ever talked to me about sex and all those related things. So when now the D-Day of going to campus had arrived, I remember my mom is a bit shy. She could not, or she's not, she doesn't find it easy like to come and talk to me about sex-related issues or boys or anything.
Does any mom ever?
I don't know why. They don't. I think I would. Yeah, I would. Because based off my story, so I remember that time my uncle and his wife, they came around. So I think the whole purpose of them visiting was for his wife, my uncle's wife, to talk to me. And I really commend that lady. She did a good job because I don't know what would happen if she had not talked to me about sex. Yes, my uncle's auntie. Yeah, auntie, yeah. So I remember she told me, Sandra, you're now a big girl. You're going to stay alone. You have been under lock and key, which has been pretty much. Campus. Yeah, when I was going to join campus, like, you know how you're going to campus like tomorrow, so a day before. So she was like, you've been under lock and key, and we have been monitoring you, your mother, the community, and all those things. But then now where you're going, no one is going to actually be going to monitor you. So you need to know, we know you're going to start maybe indulging with boys, drinking, dancing. Drinking and dancing, we may not have much control because every child is curious. That's okay. But as for the boys, do not go there because you're going to get HIV, you're going to get pregnant. And I don't know why, like from a very tender age, I used to fear babies. Maybe even I still do. I don't know. But that pep talk sunk in my head so much that I kept on wondering, but why did they talk to me? So the unfortunate bit is when I did go to campus, my roommate, the very first time she went and indulged in sexual intercourse, she actually got pregnant. So the pep talk matched with what I had observed. And so, yeah, for me, that was like, I was like, now, boys is no-go area. Of course, for the rest of the things I did try out, I was just curious. Because even I based on that thing of, you may try out, it's not what we want, but as a curious person, you could try out those ones. But boys, no. So, yeah. That was my whole thing about sex education. So I think for me, it opened my eyes to like a bigger picture. But then also, because I was going to do like a medical program, also remember we kept on now learning their sexually transmitted infections. So I remember one of the we were attached to one of the units, and one of the midwives, so I think she was a midwife then, she said something, those people who have like, I don't know, she call it a weng and ziku, something like this, the way they walk. So even those myths and ziku, like even those myths about some STIs, like they just really, like they cemented this whole thing of this area, yeah, first avoid. So yeah, that was my experience. How about you?
Personal experience regarding sex,
yeah,
relationships. I'm what most people would call a late bloomer regarding that sex and relationship thing. So I didn't become sexually active until I was, I don't know, not remember I think 2021. I think so. First freshman year at campus. Yeah, so there was no stigma, trauma, like, oh, maybe because I was still struggling with my divinity, those things.
Yeah.
So I remember one time there was a girl. She was a cosmate, and she used to chase me.
Like chasing you for relationship?
No, sex.
Oh,
she
okay.
She wanted us to.
Okay.
So can I say that on YouTube? I don't think I can. Anyway, so I used to like run away from her. Because in my heart I was like, I can't do these things. I'm a Christian boy.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it up until maybe a few months later. I finally kind of
decided to go with the okay.
Because I tripped and fell and they caught me. Okay. So yeah. That was me being initiated into that. That kind of life, that sex life. Did you watch Sex Life on Netflix?
Yeah. I'm a Netflixer, so I watch most of the stuff.
Okay. So yeah, that's my personal experience, but you're going to dig deep. You're going to tell us about common misconceptions about sex and relationships.
There's this prominent one of whereby people think if you talk about sex, you are going to like, it's like you're opening gates for promiscuity. Yet it's a good thing when you are equipped with all the information, and then you're able to make like an informed decision, like I said earlier. Because imagine now if they didn't tell me talk about sex when I was going to campus, I would maybe be curious, because that age when you're joining campus, there's too much curiosity that even if someone told you don't, you're actually going to do it.
People do it just because they told them not to do it.
Not to. But for me, I appreciated the pep talk because they told me why not to do it. Like they backed it up with evidence. And then also my observation with my roommate. So for me, it was like, okay. Yeah. So I think that is one of the myths. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I think then also other things are, for instance, if someone decided to like indulge in a sexual activity, like it's okay to talk about maybe things like family planning, because there are pregnancies involved. There are consequences, of course, when you have sexual intercourse, there are consequences. There's going to be pregnancy, there's going to be STIs. So if you tell this person about family planning, they also make an informed decision. Although some people think if you tell someone about family planning, it's like you're telling them they're going to be infertile, which is wrong.
How expensive or how affordable is family planning?
Family planning is very cheap, especially the pills. They're for free.
Do they
Government settings have free family planning services.
Do they have any effects?
If you're taking
Side
like
effects?
hormonal family planning, of course there's some side effects. Sometimes which are like plus or minus, not for everyone. But then also in the event that particular family planning has affected you, you can try another one. But also you can do some hormone tests to know what could be compatible with you. But then also we have non-hormonal family planning, which you can use. Like the IUDs, intrauterine device.
There could be those girls who are not comfortable, like going to hospitals to have it inserted.
Then you take the pills.
And there's also that going to the counter and telling the pharmacist.
No, the pills are free. Like when you go to like a government setting.
Yeah.
Government setting, government clinics, government hospitals. They're usually those health centers. Yeah, the ones which I'm probably calling clinic, but they're health centers. So they are for free. But then also affordability. Those pills are like 2,000 shillings. So I believe.
And when you say pills, people think of abortion pills.
No. I am anti-abortion. So in case you messed up and you came to me, trust me, I am those people. Like that meme says, when you go to the clinic and they give you Panadol instead of giving you the abortion pill, I am those people who give you paracetamol. You need to become a mom. But anyway, like that jokes aside, I think having babies should be out of choice. I'm a firm believer of you should have a child because you choose to have a child, not because it's an emergency, it's an accident. I don't know what people call them. Yeah.
Are there any family planning for men? Is there any family planning for men?
Oh, yes.
Because women have pills, have IUDs.
Yes. The family planning for men would be like, it's a bit permanent, like the vasectomy.
No, the impermanent one.
The impermanent one. Condoms, by the way, yeah. Condoms. Yeah, you should, by the way, like even married people, you should use condoms. There are those ones who say, there's what we call, okay, let me use the common word. Scientifically, we call it coitus interruptus. Coitus means sexual. So interruptus, you're interrupting the sexual activity.
I love that word. It sounded so sophisticated.
Yeah, so it sounds so sophisticated, and it's what I prefer to call, but what people traditionally call the withdrawal method. Yeah, but most people actually, when I talk to the men about it, they say, why do you have to withdraw at the peak of pleasure? So I don't know, but I think it would also work.
Yeah.
So either you're going to use the condoms or you're going to use that coitus interruptus.
Okay.
Maybe that. Then for the permanent one, if you're sure, you do vasectomy.
But I think it can be reversed. I think I read somewhere like they can rejoin those vas deferens.
Yeah, they do. Even for women, for the BTL, the bitubal ligation, where they think the tubes, they do reverse. But then sometimes the success rate depends on like your age and all those things. Yeah. But I've seen a woman who was 48 years old and she had come to have that reverse because probably they were teasing her that she's too young to be called grandma, so she should have some babies, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
So do you believe in family planning?
Yes and no.
Why no? And yes. Oh, why yes?
Why yes?
Yeah.
Yes, because you need to mitigate resources. So yeah, you might not have enough resources to take care of the eventual kids you have running around. And then no, because what if I can afford? Then I don't really need to family plan. I can just.
I thought when like the man and woman come together, they have like those hard conversations of like how many children do we want and.
We always joke. Me and my friends, like, we are going to have okay, some don't joke, like we are going to have 12 sons.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So if I come to you and I tell you I'm going to have 12 sons, so either you are going to give me the 12 sons, but if you can only give me 3, then of course I'm going to get the other
from along the way.
Yeah, I
think that's why I believe it's okay for you guys to have those conversations from the start. So that you know your compromise, and then
in the
whatever
early dating stages or later.
When you have now advanced from the early dating, now you're like sort of, getting into the real deeper stuff. Yeah. But then me, funny thing is, I am weird, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I don't like be there, I want to be found or something. Like when I find someone, like I'll ask you all these things. Like from the beginning, I just want to know where your headspace is at.
From the get, like from the very beginning.
Man, I don't know, me, I'm weird. Like after we've met like 2-3 times, I want to ask you like hardcore stuff. Yeah.
But what if they lie? Because they are going to lie.
They're going to lie.
Because those first 2-3 times, of course, the guy is interested in sex.
Uh-huh.
So he's going to say whatever he wants to say, whatever he has to say to get the sex.
But then
he will change, and then he'll be like, when I am such a name by things like that.
No, because for starters, it's not like I'm even going to give you the sex anyway. I'm just asking. Yes. Why do you think I'm going to give it to you? I'm not going to. Unless okay, I think it depends on everyone. Like they have a rule. Just like how people go and do like HIV tests and what. I just want to do like sickle cell test just in case. For me, my basis of having all these conversations is, God forbid, if there is something that has happened and then we found ourselves in that, my God, it's an accident. Why I didn't choose your gate, Like you do not know when people are in love, like so much, all these things, feelings and all those things, like they crowd everything that the common sense just jumps out. So I usually want to ask. Anyway, we're on family planning.
Let us go back to misconceptions about sex and relationships. So I'm going to fire off like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I have. Then you choose which one is most disturbing or most true, because they're all true. The first one I have is, if the man has to wait for sex, it's not worth it. The other one, I'm just going to fire. Marriage will fix your sex life. This is assuming you've been having sex before getting married. Or thinking that once you get married, then you'll have like a constant supply of sex because
you're married. Okay.
Because you're married, yes.
Okay.
The other one is, you need to be in a relationship to have sex. You need money. Girls don't think about sex. And then being nice gets you. I have poo here, but I don't want to say it. Being nice gets you. Let me say laid, not the other P word. Yes.
Being nice gets you laid.
Yes. So those are the misconceptions I have about sex and relationships. I think these are all misconceptions. You're being lied to if you believe.
I think being nice doesn't really get you laid. I don't think so.
It does not.
It doesn't.
But people think, men think being nice. Being nice is taking the girl out on dates, buying her flowers.
No, just be nice. Just be nice because you need to be nice, and you want this person to like you. But because if you're bad mannered, who's going to like you?
Yeah, because taking her out on dates is being nice.
But with not an end goal of you want to get laid.
But that's the goal.
Bobby, for me, take me on dates, buy me flowers, don't get me laid.
No man is going to approach you just to be.
Yeah, that is why you need to have if you're not the one to get laid type, say your intentions from the beginning.
How do you want them to say this?
No, like me, I tell you. This is it. Getting ladies off the table. If you have your nuts will be good.
Do you know how hard it is to approach women? That's why the men, in the guise of being nice, hope that in me being nice, this woman will see my value and maybe, hopefully, somehow, somewhere, she'll accept.
Okay, I want to believe someone can actually get you some if you check what they expect from a guy, like the expectations of a guy.
What
like if maybe, for instance, let me say, if the girl thinks, I want a guy who's kind. I want a guy who is maybe God-fearing. I want a guy who is maybe, who can show up, like when I have something, they can show up, who listens to me. For example, me personally, I want you to listen, not for listening's sake, like to literally listen and sort of, you may not feel what I'm feeling, but sort of try to be empathetic, you know?
And to cut, the difference is all these qualities you've listed are very good qualities. They are very attractive qualities. But you want these qualities, okay, this is what I know about women. You want these qualities in a guy who is already arousing.
As much as I may see someone, okay, for example, I could see someone physically and be like, okay, this person physically, I like them. But of course, I need time to like to be able to see these other things. That's why for me, it's not like very easy to. Yeah. But you have to wait. But of course, now in these times, like last time we said, the dating scene has really changed. Like people, I think, no longer care. If they want to get laid, they want to get laid.
Yeah. So, in 5 minutes or less, let us fast fire off these ones. If you have to wait for sex, it's not worth the wait. What do you have to say about that one?
I think it's worth the wait.
You think it's worth the wait?
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth the wait.
Why?
Because a woman who genuinely likes you can't afford to wait. So she'll just like, she'll want to grab you. Like, Wanaya, please.
Well, you could be right because that's what you believe. But for me, I know. Okay,
Right.
I believe there are other ways of being intimate without being physically involved.
But that is after you've actually have had some serious, like 1 or 2 years of. Then you can be intimate, those things, date night.
No. Okay.
Yeah, you first have to be lovers first, and then you can be best friends.
Oh, really? I believe in us being friends and then
lovers.
Yeah. Because for me, I believe, okay, my reason of that is, if you're my friend, sometimes like the love, that honeymoon phase could die out. But if you're my friend, I am committed to what we're trying to build or something. So,
Antika, this works for you. Because if you're best friends first, then you become lovers. If something happens and you cease to become lovers, then you still have this other best friend. Then the guy will just be there, being your friend. But if you are lovers first, and then you became best friends, this is where you can still you find people who still bang, but they hate each other.
Oh, like, okay.
Where it is got a bulungi nayenga. The chemistry is still there.
Okay.
They are still attracted to each other.
I don't think I would smash someone whom I have left. Like, even if we were best friends and then we became lovers, for me, once that has gone, of course, I could wait out some time, maybe a year or two, and see if we could try and work it out. But if I feel it has completely died and it's irreconcilable, for lack of a better word, not because we are now hating each other, we could have even mutually agreed. I don't think I would want to smash you. I would only smash you if I still have something there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one is big. Marriage will fix your sex life. What do you have to say about that one?
Marriage will fix your sex life. Let me start with the person who doesn't know, someone who has not had sex before. You do not know. So when you get there, you start, and then eventually you keep getting better.
If both the man and woman are virgins and they just happen to find themselves, okay, they explore that.
Yeah, they could even be when one is and the other isn't.
Who is and who is not.
I really do not. I don't know. I think either.
I think if the woman is a virgin and the man is, then it's good. But if the woman is not and the man is the virgin, then
no. But for me, I believe you still need to communicate. Takes me back to my bigger aspect of sex education. Like you need to communicate. If you have been there before, like you've done sex before, you teach this person because you've chosen them. You're married, so you teach each other. Like teach them. And even if you both do not know, learn on that job. It's okay. And remember, like I remember there's some doctor friend of mine who used to say, sex gets better like wine. Like the longer you keep trying and doing, the better it becomes.
Yeah, to a degree, I believe that.
Yeah.
If you are both virgins. Okay, yeah, let me leave it at that.
Yeah, but I think, but I think like the overall thing, marriage could actually eventually fix your sex life if you choose both of you to work on this thing. Like auntie, they keep saying marriage is work. Like both of you need to show up to better something. So yeah.
I don't think marriage is work.
Not like work bad way, but you show commitment every day. Even the other person is committed. You're both committed to this big thing, the relationship, the marriage. So that means you have to work on everything to make it better.
Do you think marriage or moving in affects your frequency of having sex?
I think it comes back to the couple's goals. There are those who are like, they have sex every after 2 days. There are those who have once a day. Then there are those who just want to go with the flow. But then also keeping in mind...
Go with the flow. What if you go with the flow for 2
like 6 months? 6 months. If you're married, that would be something. But anyway, you need to find out why you're going that long period. But then also you need to, if you go back to like biology, the men like tend to, they could have sex every day. And then the women, there are days when you are not in it. Most of the times you're not in it. And then sometimes because of the hormones, they are, a bit high, then you're in it. Okay. But then the other day I was listening, I was watching actually some podcast, and the woman said something very interesting. And I think which would really work for like married people. Even if you're not in it, like for a woman, just begin. You'll eventually have the pleasure along the way, and it will be nice.
What?
Yeah, it's just like how people get stripped, God forbid. In the beginning, it's a struggle, but then eventually the bodies agree, and yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Anyway. I don't think I'd like that situation.
Of what?
Where the woman is just like she's not feeling it. She's just there.
No, like it's not like you even show the person. Okay, what she meant was you're not in the mood for it, because most of the times actually women are not. That's the truth.
What? Nah, that's a lie.
No, like biologically, I'm just saying. I say it biologically because of the hormones, the influx, and then the lows, the highs. There are periods when a woman has when the hormones are like too much, maybe ovulation period. That woman will really want, even you will be like, anyways, this woman, I want her to show up every day. Then the other days, you're doing it, even you want to, but your body is not like, your body is naturally allowing you to. So what she meant by, even if you don't want, just that it will happen. So in the morning, like you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm going to have a good time. So like you put on your lingeries, like you just keep feeding your mind with erotic kind of things, and then you get started. You still enjoy. How would you? Okay, let me just put it like this. What are some of the ways couples should? Let me even before I ask you what are some of the ways, should couples like communicate when they want to have sex, or
communicate how?
Like tell someone, oh my God, today.
No, I don't think so. Unless there's like an art to it. Like you just don't tell.
Like you shouldn't talk.
Yeah, don't even. Okay, yeah, there's in a seductive way, yes, you could do that, but yeah, in a seductive way.
Okay, what are some of those ways? Because someone might be, they are not reading your cues.
that is something you have to learn. And because if I say it, then it might sound robotic if someone else says it. So like it's artful.
Or like the couple should have, like, I don't know, be creative. Should I be creative and find ways? Or someone should, or like now, like one time I was doing a pedicure and some random guy, he had come to cut his hair and he was like, he sends his girlfriends, anyway, I think he's Muslim, I don't know, because he said girlfriends. So he sends his girlfriends, like, he can send them like an erotic video, and then the other reads it and then knows, you know. So when he shows up, so that got me thinking, are there some cues or some things that you do?
I think you have to find your own way of communicating. Mine used to be GIFs or GIFs, whatever that pronunciation is. So like we used to communicate using GIFs. So I send one, she sends one. Send one, like in that, like the anticipation builds up. There's like tension, like one night I cannot wait.
Okay.
So we didn't even use words, it's just sending GIFs.
Okay. So did they understand that GIFs are your way of saying I want some?
It wasn't really a way of saying I want some. It was more of playful, but then in the playfulness we found ourselves like, I think it's now. We should just yeah.
But do you think those guys, for example, like this guy I was saying, who send like erotic videos, is also a good way?
If it ends up with them having sex, I think then it's a way of communicating that you want some. So yeah, even us sending GIFs was kind of a way of communicating that, because maybe it was subconscious and you just find yourself sending the GIFs. And so I think everyone should have their own unique way of communicating.
And then like I have okay, it's not like a challenge per se, but then there's this thing that happens a lot of times, whereby maybe a guy calls a girl over to his place, and then the girl goes there with no intentions of like getting laid. But then when she gets there, yes,
nice. You can't
like,
go thinking nothing is going to happen.
No, it's you guys always have that mindset.
No, even girls, like they go expecting, but they try to, you know, because you don't want to look like an easy girl. No.
I think for me personally, I've never had that thought, but because I have been seeing it, it made me actually rethink visiting people. and by the way, I don't visit people, even if it's like a kind visit. If I must visit like a guy, like maybe I could come with a group of other people. Like I just don't want, because people misinterpret it for wanting some.
It's not misinterpretation. Okay, the sharpshooters will shoot, but of course there are those nice guys who like treat you nice, cook for you, you'll talk.
Banangate cooking for me.
They'll give you transport, because you're a guest.
I also want to be cooked for. Yeah,
so there's that kind of man who will do that for you, and then there's these other ones who the moment you come something is.
So do you, what should be the ideal, what should be the proper way? Because people are still going through that, by the way, because you find that now people have had like sexual violence because they thought they were just visiting their guy friend, and then the guy friend is like, why have you showed up? Then he rapes them or something.
That's tricky.
Anyway, although I've also heard of women also who rape guys.
But I think for the girls, like it should be in the back of their mind, like going.
Anyway, for me, what my advice would be, because we've seen many trends, we know guys are always expecting sex.
Not all guys.
For me, my advice, I keep saying, even my younger sisters, like I would tell them, like there's this younger sister of mine, I remember telling her, if you have like guy friends, no one should come in your room. Go and sit in that square of Africa, mwenye mbozi, agende wawe, na ugende wamu. Or meet in a central place, because you do not know what this guy is up to. Because for you will genuinely go, show up as a friend. You're not expecting to get laid. And then you get there and someone is being strange, you know? So I think just be in neutral places until when you talk about it. That's why for me, I want someone who we talk about it. That nangenzi jansala okay. Kati I'm coming. This may be the end goal. If it doesn't happen, well and good. If it does happen, then yeah, even me I have agreed. Which brings me to my question of, should there be consent before people have sexual relations? Yeah.
Like asking.
Yeah.
No.
You don't think there should be consent?
No, these basic instincts. Like you don't.
No, me on the other hand, I think it would be sexual violation, and I believe in consent. That's why we always say they mutually consented. Yeah, like there should be consent. You don't just come pounce on me. I want you to tell me, and then I agree.
The thing of consent is very tricky because some would say that by them inviting you to their place and you coming is you consenting to the sex,
which is wrong.
Or others would be like, by me buying you a drink is you consenting to me taking you back home. Like there are those non-verbal covert contracts that, underlying. You don't expect people to be like to
when you talked about drinks, I remember back in the days when we like I said, they had told me, of course, don't drink, but we would understand if you went drinking or went dancing. So I used to have an issue with my girlfriends. Like, would go out. Of course, you have your Kalito pocket money, which your parents gave you, but then they give you for basic stuff. But then you're like, okay, on Friday, I'll go out. So you're like, okay, I'll go out and maybe drink like one bottle of this or 2 or 3. So like when we'd get there, I buy my drinks from my money. And then the girls would be like, I don't buy. They're going to buy us drinks. So when the guys would come and buy drinks, someone has bought even water. Imagine. They want to like dab the girl, hold them. I used to have a problem. I'll tell the guys, why are you holding her? Like, has she agreed? So I remember one time one of the guys was like, why are you being people's mothers? They're above 18. They have allowed. So for me, in my mind, I know we have to agree. And then also, it used to bother me, like, the girls also allow and they adapt. But then when I go back to like our hostels, it's a different story. They're jazzing, Kali, that guy held me like this. In my mind, I'm like, why didn't you say? So for me, I still believe there should be consent because it would feel nice. Okay, for me, I find it sexy if someone asks me, can I hold you? Can I do this? I feel nice. I feel good. I feel like you're putting me into this conversation. Otherwise, if you just came and jumped on me, in me personally, me as Sandra, I would see that as rape. And trust me, it really messes with my mind.
That's a very big word to
use. No, it's a big word to use, but for me, that's how I perceive it. Because when I was younger, my father always told me, no man should touch you. But I used to have issues when, he would be like, if someone is going to bathe you, you're the one who bathes you, like your private parts. So for me, it felt it still sunk. Like even to this day, as old as I am, why do you want to just hold me? Ask me if you must hold me.
I don't think I should ask.
No, you should.
I should not ask. I should come and hold you. Then you pulling away is you saying no. And that I'll respect. I'll be like, oh yeah, gang. Then if I go to another one, I start like, and then you also, that is you consenting. Of course, I'm going to go forward.
Oh my God, there's a guy who said I was rude because I told them, don't touch me. Like, why are you reaching out for?
Okay.
Yeah. He was like, I am rude. And I was like, no, I'm not rude. It's you who's rude. Why are you touching me? Anyway, I think I don't want to say I'm difficult, but that's who I am.
Yeah,
I just believe consent should be there because we are going to have issues of sexual violation.
The consent is non-verbal. The only is when, like, if there's penetration, then that is grape. But if there's no, then that can't be.
But you see, I work with young adults. And one time, a lady came and told me they were at a house party. In her story, her words, they went, were drinking, the guys pulled over, gave them drinks, they agreed. They drank, and then I think along the way, either they got very high and they don't recollect anything, but they woke up the next day and they were naked. So for them, they thought, okay, then they were like, they were raped. But then the friends were like, they all agreed. So it was...
Yeah, because first of all, these are adults. And you're going to a house party. Who doesn't know what happens at house parties?
But you could be naive.
Even I say, God, let it blow my... No, again, money, what happens at house parties? So how...
Anyway, sometimes you learn the hard way.
These are just women avoiding accountability now. Because you're at the house party, you know the guys are going to hang out with, you know there's going to be weed, there's going to be alcohol. So really.
Nenga tewakkiriza ku bibiddako.
Omanya takkiriza teyazze. Aba takkiriza.
I've been to a house party. Anyway, let me tell you my house party story. So I remember that time, I think I was about 20. I was about 20, and my friends, like me, I kept telling people, I grew up under lock and key. As much as I've been in the city, I didn't know much about what goes on in the city, like how people live lives and all those things, because I was constantly confined. So I was 20 and someone invited us. Okay, told my friends, those girlfriends of mine, that there's a party. So they're like, okay, Sandra, there's this party. I love to dance. So me, anything, if there was music, I'm good to go. So we get there, and I remember these guys started giving us drinks. But then from home, in that pep talk, one thing I remember my uncle used to say, don't allow drinks you haven't bought. And if you buy a drink and you go maybe to the washroom or somewhere, leave it there, don't come back and take it. So for me, there was always that thing. But also coming from like a security cautious family, security was like always on my topmost thing. So I remember not taking those drinks. But I think those drinks must have been spiked by something, because like 25 or 30 minutes later, one of the girls started staggering. And for me, that's when I knew something is off. So I remember telling the boys, I want to go. My mother has called, and everyone knew that girl's mother is tough. Because my mom is one person who would show up randomly at your hostel and be like, Oriwa, no more in Bandiku church, it more overnight, because she's never done that. So for me, when I sensed that, I left. But I went to the house party, not knowing what actually happens there. So for me, that was the first and last house party I've ever been to. Because nagenda yo simanyi, newe nalabanga ndaba embera gye sitegera. I left. So yeah, there are those people who go to the house parties and they don't know what happens. And there are also many others who are like me.
But once you realize that this environment is not going to be good for you.
Yeah, but then you also realize that sometimes when in that age bracket, we struggle with wanting to fit in. You get every time you are outside the norm of that kind of category, people look at you as weird, strange. They give you labels. So sometimes you do not want to kubera moyo. So you find that someone does not drink, they keep on drinking because they want to fit in. So I think sometimes that's what disturbs them. They genuinely went there, they didn't know, but then they're also struggling with wanting to fit in, so they get problems. What are some of in my definition, I talked about sexual health, of sex education, like that word there. Yeah. So what are some of the sexual health, the common challenges experienced under sexual health?
Common challenges of sexual health, like STIs.
Yeah.
STIs, erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
What else did I write down? I had a few.
Oh, like low libido.
Sex.
I like low sexual desire.
What was the question?
Okay, I think it would be like, what are the the aspects of sexual health, and what are some of the challenges people experience?
There are those ones we've mentioned. ED, erectile dysfunction, low libido. What was the other one? Sexual STIs.
Yeah.
So I think I'll start with the ED. The ED, there's various causes. The one I know of is chronic masturbation. The other one could be related to the person's actual health, like if
like if someone has hypertension.
What was the other one? Low libido. Still, someone could be like unhealthy, and that would affect the sex drive. Then the other one, STIs. STIs. Wow. People don't like using condoms. Sometimes they don't know how to use the condom, so they end up neglecting the entire thing. So that's a challenge, I think. Then it depends on the individual. Like how much do you value your life?
Yeah, I think promiscuity.
Yeah,
so like people are all over the place. But anyway.
But there are also girls who don't like when the man uses contraception, like condoms. They'll be like, or I'm allergic to condoms.
Man, those people who say they're allergic, it's a lie. Okay, I know, but people are allergic to rubber. Yeah, let me not. But then I know most times, okay, yes, that's true. There are people who are genuinely allergic to rubber. But then there are those who just use it as an excuse to just have intercourse without
protection.
Yeah.
And then they end up blackmailing the guy. Like, because they know you had unprotected sex, the chick will be like, I'm pregnant.
I never did. But anyway, I really strongly believe people do that thing, but I think people should do better. Yeah, like girls, like as females, we should do better. I've never understood why people do that, but I don't think I'd want to do that to someone if it's not real. Because, okay, for me, maybe personally, I genuinely have phobia for pregnancy, especially if it's out of like wedlock, because, or in the confines of, as a defined kind of relationship. So, I don't think I would want to blackmail someone.
Yeah, but women do. Some girls do.
I think, which brings me to people should the sex practices. Yeah, people should have proper safe sex practices that are safe to prevent them from getting these STIs, the unwanted pregnancies.
One safe sex practice.
Use condoms. You test regularly for STIs, yeah. And then also to, in the event that you have gotten this pregnancy, Bambi become a mother, because you could have chosen better either not to or to do, not to have sex or to have sex. Not to have sex, which is abstinence, which would completely put you away from unexpected pregnancies. But then also, if you chose to indulge in sexual practice, at least use a condom or use family planning.
What are maybe like those instances where being like there's no protection anywhere, just coitus interruptus. You try, but you're maybe
and then
high,
and then it doesn't work out. It's the wrong question to ask me, but just have a baby. Anyway, I'm a firm believer of people should have children by choice. I do not advocate for abortions, but just make sure that you do safe sex. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see, before we close, let me see if I had some pressing concerns or issues.
Checho.
Actually, the ones I have are to do with sex, like not like sex ed, but just sexual things.
Okay. By the way, I wanted to ask you. You see, our culture and our social expectations like really make it very hard to speak freely about sex and relationships. But at least I'm happy that the government jumped on and embraced the whole sex education thing, and they actually introduced that there's a national sexuality framework. It's really nice. It's very good, and I like the fact that it teaches like sex education, like from the basics. I think the target was like 3.
Straight talk?
I think it would be like straight talk, but this one tells you about your biology, who you are. So a 3-year-old knows that this chest area I have breasts, this lower area I have this and I have that. So they teach the kids in, of course, like they give them age appropriate information. So I think it's a very good initiative, and it is very, I think it's like their goal was to help people to understand their sexuality and sex-related information. So do you think, okay, my whole point is, do you think it was a good initiative? Or, because I remember when it was starting out, there was a lot of controversy. The parents thought their children are going to be told about sex, like this gross erotic sex. So do you believe it's a good initiative or not?
I can't be against it. I just believe, okay, yeah, it's a good thing because not everyone has like guardians to guide them.
Yes.
So yeah, makes sense. Because I was going to go the other route of parents should be the ones guiding their kids and enlightening them.
Yeah, actually, the stakeholders of this whole framework are the parents, the caregivers, and then the teachers. And I think in this framework, they sort of they said they would like equip teachers with a way of giving age appropriate. Like for example, like those 3-year-olds to like I think 5 or 7, they tell them like this chest area you have this, you have this. No one should touch you in this way. Like speak to people you trust. If something happens to you, like you speak out to someone. I think the whole point, because remember back in the day we used to have a lot of rape within the homes, outside the homes. So I think now it's like it's very clear. Even a child, like, because I remember one time I was bathing one of my nephews and he was like, "Do not touch me here," mommy said. So I was really impressed and I was so happy that now kids actually are aware of their bodies and they're able to say, "Do not do this." And I think it also teaches them to like speak out, you know, because back in the day you would hear whereby fathers have done things or uncles, aunties, you know. Yeah.
At what age should the parents introduce this sex talk to their kids?
I think 3 is okay.
3 years old.
Like appropriate ways. Like you speak to them like in those languages. Like you tell them, like I remember I used to tell my baby sister, this is a flower, so no one touches your flower. But of course now when she grew older, she knows it's not called a flower, it's called something else. Because also you do not want a young child coming around and they are visitors and they are bluntly saying out this big word. So I think, I think the whole point, the whole point of them teaching them their biology was a good initiative. Of course, I know there's religious leaders like didn't like it, and many other people. Of course, even parents were skeptical. But when it finally came into play, I think it's a good thing. Because I was impressed when my nephew told me, don't touch me there. Of course, I wasn't going to, but I just wanted to see if he's aware of something.
Okay. Yeah, I think it is. Even the parents could also add on to it. Yes,
actually, this framework encompasses all of them: parents, the caregivers, the teachers. So at least you're sure that when the child is at home, they're being taught. Even when they go to school, it's being reinforced. So at least everywhere, someone knows. Yeah, but I think the best, like that framework says, I think it with age, you teach them according to their age, because you may tell a 3-year-old a very big word and
interesting. Growing up, did you have any beliefs about sex? Like, was it that taboo in your house? Like,
oh yeah, sex was a taboo. But all I remember is one time my father said, boys don't mix with girls, and then you can't see your brother, you can't see your sister, but then also the private areas were like no-go areas for anyone to touch.
Within the house?
Yeah, within the house. Because for me, I like growing up, we had a lot of extended family. Yeah, so there was need to like speak about it. But then also, I recently heard there's a family whereby the kids were always upstairs. So the kids started experimenting on each other, the brother and the sister, without the parents notice. So every time the kids would like come down, they're like, we're going to go back to their bedrooms. So now a lot was happening that parents didn't know about.
Yeah, I've heard of those stories. I know of a friend who used to sleep with his sister.
Oh, okay, sad.
Anyway. So, does the internet play a very big role? Because most of these kids are online. They are watching so many things, series, shows, and almost all Netflix shows have
a lot of they have
and there's of course there's porn as well, like online porn in HD, and we have like 4G internet, very fast Wi-Fi. So people are no longer, because for us we had hyena back in the day. Like you had to get read paper.
You go and read.
And you had to know how to read. So you but kids nowadays
they're by the way.
So what?
Yeah, I think the internet is really playing a big role in doing so much exposure. But I think parents and guardians or any caregivers should have like control, like parental control.
Control something like that, because those kids are now even more tech savvy than the parents themselves. So they know all ways. They know how to use the incognito browser. They know the passwords.
No, I think that's when sex education comes into play. Like when you speak to them, like Otandika, you start early and you start speaking to them about these things such that they do not start. Because I remember when I was going to S1 and my father told me, there's going to be a senior one dance party and I want to teach you how to dance with a boy. For a very long time, okay, mostly my mother, boys no, you know. So for him, he told me, I want to teach you how to dance with a boy. But remember, a boy should never touch the parts I told you. So he taught me how to dance with a boy, but then he told me, I know they will also write to you letters and like boyfriend, girlfriend. You should always come and tell me. That some boy wrote to me. So there was this one incident. There was a guy who, I think he had a crush on me while we were in primary. I really don't know, but he used to write me letters and he would put like dedication songs, those things of Simani Deads. He would put like those Westlife songs and they were love related. So I love the Westlife and their music and all that. So what hit me the most was this one day, like these other times would be like, how is school, which subjects, blah, 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 blah. So this one day, he wrote to me in a way that really just beat me, like messed up with my head. And he was like, he likes the way I walk when I wear my US Army. Because those days we used to have like tracksuits and they were like labeled US Army. So he liked the way I walked when I wore my US Army tracksuits. It felt like I was going to rescue him from an ocean of love. So I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't understand. So
Ocean
I remember.
Of love.
Yeah.
Margaret would love that one.
Man. I know he will. So I remember being bothered. Like, I was like, okay, this whole thing, like, by the way, it really messed up with my head. And then he put like some dedications, drew some hearts. So basically, it really messed up with my head. So I decided to keep the letter and show it to my father, because he had told me if someone ever writes you or a boyfriend, something like that, you tell me. Before I could even tell him, we got holidays. My mother saw that later. And I was like, I was going to show it to daddy. But the whole point is, because he had told me that in case something like this happens, you should come and tell me. So I was willing to like go and tell him about it. Yeah.
I think that's a very important thing to have with your dad.
Yeah. So I think that's why I'm saying I think the parents, like anyone, a guardian or something, should we speak to the kids. Speak to the kids that even when something happens, or if they find themselves in that space of porn or something, they know what to do. Like, they know better. They will choose not to.
Because you won't judge them when they approach.
Exactly. Now, for me, it was easier to like always run to my father and tell him stuff than go to my mother, because I knew my mother discipline. Like, she just wants to discipline. How it is,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think what would be the takeaways from this sex education? I feel like it's so gross, but yeah, there could be like one or two. You'd be like, now from sex education, I think this is what I would run with as a future parent or a parent, a guardian.
I had 5 points, but let me try. And the very first one I had was protect yourself. So learn how to wear and use condoms. because people are going to fall short, of course. Like begin to go over, you end up wanting to do it.
Yeah.
So at least protect yourself. Then the other I had was let me just avoid too much phone. People don't want to admit like that they watch porn, but
Yeah.
don't watch too much. But then the watching too much, of course, usually is a sign of something else that is wrong with you. So there's something else that you need to fix. But if you find yourself watching too much porn, then there's a deeper issue you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I had stay fit and healthy, because when you look good and feel good, you'll exercise, go to the gym, do your aerobics. You'll have a high sex libido, so high sex drive. Then this one I put, even though I don't believe in God, if you are religious, avoid the peer pressure, because you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, that's what I had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are, then just abstain. There's nothing there.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
Just wait for your person.
Yeah, you just wait. There's nothing out there. Me, I'm a firm believer of abstinence, really. Yeah, for me, my takeaways would be have the information, like be equipped. As much as I would be like, I would want people to like abstain, there are those who are going to fall short of their own standards or whatever standards are in place for them. But at least have the information and then make the right decisions. If you must abstain, please abstain. In case you choose to like indulge sexually, you should use condoms. Test your people. These days, recently, I was on an HIV campaign, and it's a good thing to test people and regularly, not just people want to test now and then get involved. No, test now, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, like keep testing the person. And even when you test the person and you're like having sex, unprotected sex, please have one person, banangi. Like, why are you having many people? Okay, at least try one person at a time. When this one is no longer working out, you have splat, then you go. But ordinarily it would be get your one person, have sex with that person, and until death does you part.
we need a very special, dedicated episode.
Yeah.
That tackles sex, not just sex ed, but...
Yeah, no, that one we shall, but yeah. So, and then the other thing is love your life more, guard your life, because STIs are real, and people are really sick, so...
Yeah, even though they don't show.
Yeah, people don't show.
You judge with your eyes.
Yeah, you don't judge with your eyes, so you need to test. And then there's also a window period. Like some people test now and then they want to have sexual intercourse, and then someone probably has a virus and they're in window period and something like that. So they just need to be cautious. But then also, like to the ladies, let's not have babies because it's an accident. Like let's choose to have babies because we want to have babies. So there's a lot of information, condoms, family planning. So yeah, that would be like my takeaway. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in. We love you so much. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. Until then, see you then.
Thanks for dressing for the occasion.
You're welcome. I didn't even...